I never planned on spending my whole life with Damien Ashford, but being humiliated by him in public, over and over again, that still stung. I grew up deep in the Ozark Mountains. Damien was the only son of Oakwood's richest family. If I hadn't accidentally saved Beatrice Ashford, his grandma, back then, I wouldn't even have been able to touch the hem of his pants. But after that incident, Beatrice insisted I move into her house. And after we graduated, she literally forced Damien to marry me. Please subscribe for more exciting videos like this. I wanted to object, but Beatrice got all worked up. Sloane, do you think my life isn't worth anything? That the Ashford family doesn't owe you everything? She was dead set on me being her perfect granddaughter-in-law. She gave me $8 million as wedding gift and a house in Oakwood. No matter how sour Damien's parents looked, she handed over the heirloom jade and put it in my hands. She forced us through the whole wedding process. After the ceremony, the door clicked shut. Damien, whose face had been dark all night, laughed coldly and pushed me onto the bed. I've got the worst luck in the world, ending up with freaks like you. He tried to touch me. I fought back hard. Finally, he grabbed my chin and squeezed. What are you playing at? Isn't this what you wanted? How else are we supposed to have kids? How else are you going to get your hands on everything the Ashford family owns? You ugly, poor leech. Just looking at you makes me sick. I'd always been weak. Growing up, my parents walked all over me. I took countless beatings just to give in to my little brother. Damien's viciousness dredged up all my old fears. I didn't know how long it lasted, that painful, awful experience, but then Damien rolled off me and walked straight into the bathroom. From that day on, Damien used married life as an excuse to move out of Ashford Estate. With Beatrice no longer watching him day and night, he could finally cut loose. And I could finally breathe. Year after year, Damien and I lived like strangers. He hated me. I was scared of him. I thought it would be like this forever. Until Damien's childhood friend Ivy came back. She kept inviting me out under the guise of curiosity. At party after party, I heard them humiliate me without holding back. I always knew I was the joke of the circle, but I never expected Damien wouldn't even bother saving face. When he saw the look on my face, the shame I couldn't hide, he only got worse. Finally, this time, he made out with another woman right in front of me. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my palms, trying to push down the fear. I steadied my voice and asked him, "If I ask for a divorce, can you talk to Madame Ashford?" Damien was smoking. He gave a mocking smile when he heard that. "Talk to her? You're the one who should do it. You're her precious little darling. What are we to her?" His eyes were ice cold. But I knew he wanted the divorce too. I thought about it, then pressed my lips together. "Fine. I'll go home tomorrow and talk to Madame Ashford." Damien and I lived in a condo in Arcadia near his company. 150 square yards, but only 3 bedrooms and a living room. Damien used to be a big kid. The place was stuffed with action figures, game consoles, and Lego sets. After I moved in, I bought some flowers and plush toys to make it feel more alive. When Damien stumbled through the door drunk, I quietly put his slippers in front of him. It wasn't that I was serving him. Beatrice gave me $100,000 a month as allowance. I always felt guilty taking that money, so taking care of the house and him made me feel a little better. He shot me a sideways glance and went into the bathroom. When he came out, there was a bowl of soup cooling on the table. "Your stomach's always acting up. Have some before bed." I was about to go upstairs when he called out, "Sloane." "Yeah. Why aren't you mad?" His voice was flat, like he was asking why it wasn't raining today. I thought about it. Probably because I don't care. I didn't care. I didn't love him. So whoever he made out with, it didn't matter. Damien's eyes narrowed. He opened his mouth to say something, but nothing came out. I went to my room, changed into pajamas, and lay down in bed. Then I pulled out my phone and checked my bank account. $15,809,022. I could spend that money with my eyes closed and never run out. Feeling relieved, I closed the app. Then my mom texted, "Your brother's graduating high school soon. He's gonna get his driver's license. Once the car's ready, buy him a Mazer, whatever." He says it drives great. Get the money ready. I bit my lip and texted back. How's the house renovation going? Make sure you get good tiles, cement, and fixtures. Mom wouldn't have it. Why bother with all that? That money's for your brother's wedding. What about when you get old? How are you gonna live in a bad house? Don't talk like that. You're rich. Of course you're gonna take care of us. We raised you, fed you, sacrificed so much for you. We're counting on you. She started listing the handful of good things she'd done for me, things I could count on 10 fingers. I was about to tell her I was planning to divorce Damien, but seeing her like that, I swallowed the words. Forget it. Why add to the drama? They never cared if I was happy anyway. That night, I slept like a log. But somewhere between asleep and awake, I felt like someone was watching me. A strange, unreal feeling. Next morning, Damien was actually home. He was still in his pajamas, dark circles under his eyes. I grabbed a sleep mask and handed it to him. Aren't you going on a business trip? He looked at me. Gotta go to Ashford Estate with you first.
Oh.
He was here to make sure I followed through on the divorce. I smiled to myself and said nothing. In the kitchen, I pulled out a pan and eggs, made a standard English breakfast, and set it on the table. After we ate, we got in his car. As soon as we pulled up to Ashford Estate, I saw Ivy. She was holding a bunch of stuff. When she saw Damien, she hurried over and linked her arm through his. Damien, you're here? I've been waiting forever. Let's go see Madame Ashford together. He looked down at her, then laced his fingers through hers right in front of me. I didn't say a word. I grabbed the gift I'd bought for Beatrice from the trunk. Inside the living room, Beatrice wasn't watching her usual soap opera. She was just sitting there, lost in thought. I called softly, Madame Ashford. Beatrice finally looked up. Her eyes were red, bloodshot. She grabbed my hands with her bony fingers. Sloane.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Her voice cracked. I didn't know what was wrong, but I didn't want her to hurt like this. Before I could comfort her, Damien and Ivy walked in. They weren't being too obvious. Just came in one after the other. When Ivy saw Beatrice, she put her gift on the table and cooed, Madame Ashford, I'm back in the country. I came especially to see you. Her family lived next to the Ashfords. Technically, Beatrice had watched Ivy grow up. There should have been some affection. But Beatrice just gave her a cold look. Finally, she turned to me.
Come.
Let's go to my room. I have something for you. Ivy pouted and backed off, tugging at Damien's sleeve. I saw all of it but didn't react. I helped Beatrice into her room. I thought she'd try to patch things up between me and Damien again. Instead, after we sat down, Beatrice said, Sloane divorced Damien. I was stunned. Madam. I know. You have a boy you like outside. And Damien has never liked you. You've been suffering. I thought I'd been pretty discreet about things. I felt awkward. Madam, listen. He and we haven't even started anything. I know. She cut me off, holding my hand. Sloane, I know it's not your fault. It's mine. I was old and foolish. I thought you were such a good girl. I wanted to keep you in the Ashford family forever. I was wrong. Back then, I had a fight with my husband and ran off to the countryside in a huff. I passed by the river and saw you cleaning up your grandmother's grave. Right then, I thought, what a wonderful kid. 15 years old, not afraid of dead people or dirt. A true filial child. When I fell in the water and you saved me, I had people looking to you. Everyone for miles around said you were a good kid. Your parents favored your brother, didn't feed you properly, didn't clothe you, and you still got first place in every exam. I thought about my worthless grandson. I thought bringing you back might rub off on him, make him better. And he did get better. After you came to our house, he stopped running around with his bad friends. He actually studied. I was so happy. Even though I knew neither of you wanted it, I forced you to marry him for his future. That was wrong. I repaid your kindness with harm. You saved my life, and I trapped you with money. I was about to cry, but that last line almost made me laugh. Madame Ashford, you gave me over 10 million. A little humiliation is nothing. I'm willing. Besides, I didn't marry Damien just to repay you. Like I told you back then, I really did like him. Looking back, it was hard not to like Damien back then. Beatrice brought me from the Ozark Mountains to the city and enrolled me in the best private school. Her intentions were good, but she never thought about whether I could fit in. Everyone in my class was born rich. When they saw me, they didn't hide their disgust. Then Damien kicked the door open, slung his arm around my shoulders. This is my grandmother's savior.
She's my sister now.
Anybody messes with her, they mess with me. He was about 15, with a face like a comic book character. He came out of nowhere and saved me. In 1 second, I heard my heart fall. Back then, Damien was wild but kind-hearted. He'd curse under his breath while correcting my terrible French pronunciation. He'd buy me snacks when I cried over bad grades. For 2 years of high school, we got along great. Everything changed around the time of the college admission exam. While we waited for results, Beatrice chatted with me. She asked if I liked Damien, if I wanted to marry him. My heart full of teenage feelings, I got shy. Beatrice pulled me into a hug and laughed. Good, great. Then let my grandson sell himself to pay my debt. You saved my life. Then you can marry him. From now on, you're my granddaughter-in-law. We'll live the good life together. A noise came from the flowers nearby, but I didn't hear it. When I finally calmed down, I said, Madam Ashford, I like him. But he's not an object. You don't need to use him to repay a debt.
Please don't say that again.
It's not fair to Damien. He's a good person. He deserves a better girl. If he doesn't want this, please don't trap him. I had no idea how things would turn out. The next day, Damien left for another city. He spent 4 years in college far away. His parents resented me for it. After graduation, Beatrice pushed for us to get married.
He didn't object.
But 5 years of marriage brought nothing but cold silence and pain. Now it was all finally ending. I buried my face in Beatrice's lap. Madam Ashford, don't blame me. I really didn't mean to let you and the Ashford family down. That guy, he's good to me. I'm almost 30 now. I just want a normal life. She stroked my hair. Child, don't say any more. It was all my fault. After you, when I have the chance, I will come see you. My nose burned. I hummed softly. We settled the divorce. Beatrice said she'd handle Damien's parents. Since Damien had already agreed to the divorce yesterday, I didn't bother telling him about my talk with Beatrice. When I came out, Damien and Ivy were still sitting close together on the couch. When he saw me, he raised an eyebrow, glanced at the girl beside him, didn't move. Now that the divorce was settled, I felt lighter than air. I said to Damien, You guys hungry? I'm gonna make something for Madam Ashford in the kitchen. You can eat too. Damien snorted. Ivy jumped in. Sloane, is this how you suck up to Madam Ashford?
So pathetic.
No wonder she likes you. I couldn't be bothered to fight. Yeah, sure. Since you look down on my cooking, don't eat. Sloane, show some respect. Ivy is my guest. Damien was defending her. His eyes locked onto mine, like he was waiting for me to argue or back down. I didn't answer. I just turned and walked into the kitchen. We were getting divorced. Why should I care? After we left Ashford Estate, Damien drove off with Ivy. They had a party with their circle. Ivy sneered again. Sorry, Sloane. Your kind doesn't belong in our circle. Didn't Marco tell you to find some office worker to date? Now that you've got time, go on a date. I thought about it. It had been 2 days since I'd seen Felix. Time for a date. So I answered seriously. You're right. I'll get going. From the driver's seat, Damien's head whipped around. His eyes bored into me. You're going on a date?
Yeah.
With my boyfriend. Since we were getting divorced anyway, it didn't matter to tell him. I didn't expect Damien to twist it. He let out a sneer. Sloane, if you're gonna lie, at least use your brain. You stay home all day, don't work. How the hell would you meet someone new? Don't be ridiculous. I didn't want to fight. Stay out of my business. Go do your thing. He shot me a furious glare, then peeled out in the car. Once I was sure Damien was gone, I grabbed a cab to nearby Scottsdale. Felix was already done with class. He spotted me, books in hand, and walked over fast. After checking no one was around, he dipped his head and gave me a kiss. Babe, I haven't seen you in so long. I touched his cheek. Sorry, I've been dealing with the divorce stuff. A spark of joy lit up his eyes. He was a senior in college. We met in a traffic accident. I was driving my Range Rover, he was on his electric scooter. After the collision, he sheepishly emptied his pockets, saying he'd pay for my repairs. We exchanged contacts. Over time, I learned he was a physics major, both parents dead. He'd worked his ass off to get a graduate school offer abroad. To cover living expenses, he was tutoring all over the place, and that was how we accidentally met again. After we got together, he ached for what I'd been through. The way Damien humiliated me ate at him. Every time we met in secret, he'd kiss me and ask how much longer he had to be the hidden lover. Today I finally gave him a date. Felix was thrilled. Babe, after you divorce him, should we move abroad? Anyway, I've got no one. Your parents are like blood-sucking leeches. Might as well relocate for some peace. I was thinking the same thing. Smiling, I laced my fingers through his. Sounds good. Whatever you say. We decided to celebrate with dinner and found a nice place at Steakhouse in Old Town. But no sooner had we sat down to order than I turned my head and spotted Damien with Ivy and his friends drinking in a private booth. They were still all over each other. I shifted so the door blocked more of my face. Felix was looking at the menu. He noticed my movement and smiled. What's wrong? Hungry. He wasn't particularly handsome, but when he smiled, he was stunning. I couldn't help grinning back. Yeah, a little. You took forever. Felix was caught off guard by my teasing. He couldn't help standing up and leaning over the table to kiss me. Then, under my mock-scolding gaze, he gave a shy smile. Sorry, babe. You're just too irresistible. I pressed my lips together, feeling a warm ache in my chest. Love really was blind. Neither of us was anything special to look at, but in each other's eyes we saw fierce devotion. We both looked away, embarrassed, and laughed. Felix kissed my hand. After dinner, wanna come over to my place? I nodded. Okay. My ears were burning red. Just as we were leaning into each other, cheek to cheek, whispering, we didn't notice Marco step out to use the restroom. He spotted us cuddled together. He froze in shock. After standing there a long moment, he went back to the booth. Inside, the others were still joking about Sloane. Damien watched with a flat expression, not stopping them. He was toying with the lid of his lighter, flicking it open and shut. A sign he was agitated. In the past, Marco would have joined right in, cracking jokes about Sloane to amuse Damien. But what he'd just seen had him stunned. He stood in the doorway, making Ivy look over. Marco, what are you doing standing there? What's wrong? Marco bit his lip. I saw Sloane. Ivy glanced at Damien at that, then curled her lip. She's shameless, following him again. When will she stop clinging to Damien like a gold digger? She's an embarrassment to women. But Damien's expression relaxed a little. He slowly stood up. Where is she? Trying to drag me home again? That kind of calculating woman can never hide anything. He started for the door, a hint of a smile creeping onto his face. Marco quickly called out, Damien. Yeah, you shouldn't go out there. Why? She's on a date with another guy. The noisy room went dead silent. Damien's face darkened, his eyes sharp as knives boring into Marco. What did you say? Marco couldn't help swallowing. She's on a date with another man. Before he'd even finished, Damien bolted out. Everyone was afraid of trouble, so they followed. But they found Damien had stopped just outside the door. He was staring straight ahead, where his wife was kissing another man. That ordinary, mediocre woman everyone looked down on as a gold digger. She was completely relaxed in the arms of another equally plain guy, her face full of sweetness and hope. They kissed like no one else existed. Finally, Sloane buried her face in the man's neck. She murmured, whining, Felix, let's go home. Felix took a deep breath and kissed her forehead again. Yeah, let's continue at my place. They held hands, shoulders brushing, paid the bill, and left. The whole time, Damien didn't say a word. He didn't move a step. Felix and I spent the afternoon messing around at his rented place. That evening, he had to meet an old classmate, and I was heading home to pack. Since we were getting divorced anyway, I might as well get my stuff sorted out early. Once I had the divorce certificate, Felix and I would fly abroad. My mind was full of logistics. I didn't notice anything off about my surroundings. When I pushed open the door and turned on the light, Damien was sitting dead center on the couch. His face was like shit, barely containing his rage. "Where were you this afternoon?" I told him the truth. "On a date." I'd already told him about it, but Damien suddenly exploded. He swept all the tea sets off the table. The crash echoed through the room. After the clatter died down, he still wasn't satisfied. He kicked over a chair, smashed a decoration I loved. Finally, he charged at me, his eyes bloodshot like they were about to bleed. "Sloane, you're my wife. My wife. How dare you cheat on me?" I frowned. "Weren't you the one who told me to find someone else? You guys said it, a woman with no family, no background, plain looking like me should find someone at my own level, work an ordinary job, have an ordinary kid. I shouldn't keep hanging around where I don't belong. The one thing I'm good at is taking advice. You told me to find someone, so I did. Felix is capable. He's smart. If I stick with him, I won't suffer. Don't worry, after the divorce, I won't come crawling back." I honestly couldn't figure out why he was so angry, acting like a wronged husband. But no matter how I thought about it, it couldn't be, because he was jealous. Once I settled on that, I told him, "Damien, don't be mad. Hardly anyone knows about me and him. After I divorce you, I'm leaving the country. No one will dare laugh at you." Damien choked on his own breath. He nearly died of anger. He couldn't articulate why he was so furious. But looking at her calm face, he couldn't let the anger out either. He ground his teeth for a long time, but in the end, he couldn't hold it. He kicked the door open and stormed out. He headed straight to Ivy's place. After Damien left, I called Beatrice. "Madam Ashford, Damien found out about my boyfriend. He seems really angry." Beatrice snorted.
Don't worry about him.
"He's an idiot who doesn't know his own heart. Just focus on getting ready for your trip abroad. I will handle the rest."
Right.
When I talked to Beatrice about the divorce, I told her all about Felix and our plan to emigrate. She'd said it was good that he was an orphan, no mother-in-law drama. Once I was settled abroad, she'd come visit me. She'd had Damien's mother manipulate him into signing the divorce agreement. We all understood that in a month, we'd go our separate ways. Now that Damien had made the scene, I didn't know if things would change. I wasn't sure. After I hung up with Beatrice, I sent a message to Damien's mother. The next day, Damien's parents, who usually lived in the suburbs, suddenly showed up at Ivy's. There they found Damien, shirtless, passed out in bed. His mother had always liked Ivy. Seeing they were closer than ever, she immediately shook Damien awake and demanded he take responsibility. Damien glared at everyone in the room, but couldn't argue. 2 hours later, the whole family gathered to discuss the divorce. Once I learned the proceedings had started, everyone's expressions changed. Ivy couldn't hide her happiness. Damien looked like he was losing his mind. His chest heaved. He wanted to say something but couldn't get it out. When everything was settled, he walked straight up to me. "Sloane, you set me up." I raised an eyebrow. "You deliberately provoked me to make me jealous. You made me lose it, so I'd go to Ivy and sleep with her." I admitted, when I saw Marco at the steakhouse that day, I decided to bring things into the open. But still, "Damien, you were the one who looked down on me. You were the one who hooked up with Ivy. You were the one who drove to her place. You were the one who climbed into her bed. You're a grown man. How can you take off your pants and then refuse to own up? What's happened to you?" I really didn't like seeing him like this. Even at his worst, Damien was still a man who, despite hating me, wasn't a bad person deep down. But maybe it was being forced to marry someone he didn't love that had twisted him. I barely recognized him anymore. I couldn't help sighing as I looked at him. "Damien, I know you can't stand me, but I also know you're a good person at heart. You can't treat Ivy like that. I still remember when we were in school, when others bullied me, you had my back. My spoken French sucked, so you coached me after class. When I bombed an exam, you did everything to cheer me up. You've always been good. Like Beatrice said, you just had it too easy and didn't know what you wanted. I'll admit, Being married to me for 5 years must have sucked for you. At first I thought we could grow to love each other, but later I realized some things can't be forced. I used to have a crush on you. That's why no matter what happens, I want the best for you. If you really love Ivy, don't mess it up again. At least this time, she's your own choice. Treasure her. Every sign before had pointed to his childhood bond with Ivy. He loved her. He shouldn't ruin it just because he was mad at me. I patted his shoulder like a friend, trying to get him to stop being stubborn. Emotions churned in Damien's eyes. His mind was a mess. I sighed again. That was all I could do. Now that everything was out in the open, I planned to move out of our condo as soon as possible. After we finished discussing the next steps, Beatrice went to her room alone. Damien's parents dragged Ivy off shopping. I drove back to pack my things. Damien followed. His eyes were gloomy. "I'll drive you." I didn't say no. He took me back to the condo. That huge place had very little that was actually mine. I packed a few clothes and toiletries. Everything else I either threw away or gave away. It didn't take long. I was tidying up. Damien sat on the couch watching me. His expression was still grim. He said, "Sloane. Yeah. I'm just realizing now how well you kept this place." The glass vase on the end table always had the lilies he liked. No matter how late he came home, the house was spotless, with a faint, pleasant scent in the air. Damien had seen his friends' messy rooms. Even at Ivy's place, random stuff was scattered everywhere. But home with Sloane was weirdly cozy and clean. It made him want to come back even though he hated her. Back then he didn't understand. Wasn't that a form of caring? I pretended not to see the turmoil in his eyes. I looked down. "If you want to keep it this way, you can hire a housekeeper. I'll tell your mom to help you, and Ivy find one." He licked his lips but said nothing. For the first time, we were in the same room with this much peace. By the time I'd packed everything, it was past 11 at night. I was about to get a van to haul my stuff away, but Damien stopped me. "It's too late. Don't bother. Tomorrow I'll have a driver take you to his place." He insisted, so I let it go. After I showered and did my skincare, I curled up on the couch and video called Felix. We'd only gone 2 days without seeing each other, but we missed each other like crazy. I put my earbuds in and cooed at him. "Babe, I miss you." On the other end, Felix laughed. "Want me to come get you now?" "No, it's too late. Come tomorrow. You've been teaching all day. Don't go out of your way. In a few days we'll be leaving together anyway." Felix's eyes curved. "Yeah, I'll do whatever you say, babe." He held up his bank card. "I transferred this month's tutoring pay to you. Did you get it?" I said, "Got it." "So, awesome, babe. Over 20,000. It's all yours. From now on, our money is yours. You're my financial manager. Come on, don't wear me out. I'm still young, you know." I couldn't help teasing him, which made him laugh on the other end. We jabbered about meaningless sweet nothings for a long time. When I hung up, I realized Damien had finished a shower and was standing at the doorway. Who knew how long? He opened his mouth, about to say something. I cut him off. "I'm tired. Going to bed." That was that. That night, I still couldn't sleep well. In my dreams, I kept going back to that first night of marriage, the forced intimacy, the discomfort. When I opened my eyes, Damien was standing a few feet from the bed. I didn't know how long he'd been watching. When he saw I was awake, he slowly walked over. "Sloane, I'm just now realizing how beautiful you are." The moonlight spilled over her, making her look serene and soft, like a fairy. Damien couldn't figure out why he'd been so sure Sloane was ugly. 5 years of marriage, and apart from that first night, they'd never shared a bed again. Now, watching her lie there with another man's hickey on her neck, Damien felt like a dull knife was carving through his heart. He couldn't help leaning down. "Sloane, I regret it. Let's not get divorced, okay? We'll make it work from now on. I'll give that guy money. He's been killing himself working to have a better life anyway. I'll give him $5 million to leave you. Sloane, you've always been good and obedient. I didn't appreciate you before. I'll change from now on. You can call all the shots at home. Wasn't Grandma always telling you to keep me in line? She was right. You're the only one who can handle this mess I've become. Don't go.
Don't divorce me.
Let's be good to each other, okay? As he spoke, tears started to well up in his eyes. I looked at him. Damien, are you feeling hurt because you actually like me and don't want to lose me? Or is it just that you can't stand the idea that even someone as ordinary as me could be wanted by someone else? He froze. I pushed his hand away. You've hated me for years. That kind of feeling doesn't just disappear overnight. You feel bad and regretful now because a man actually wants me, not because you truly care. People are cheap. Food tastes better when someone's fighting for it. People seem more attractive when someone else wants them. I know the game. I don't care. But Damien, I want to be loved too. Like you said, I want to find someone I like, kiss him and have kids with him, hold his hand and go out, be his favorite person. You can't give me that. Even if you could right now, sooner or later your friends will talk and you'll regret it. You've been too sheltered. Everything's come too easy. You don't know that some things in life need to be treasured. I got up from the bed and started getting dressed. I looked at him, frozen in place, and left him with one last piece of advice. Back when I saved Madame Ashford, I had no idea the Ashford family was rich. But she paid for my education, gave my family a huge wedding gift, and let me use that money to invest and make more. That changed my life. I can't say I got nothing out of this marriage. That's why I put up with all the crap you gave me for 5 years. Now you've found someone from your own world. I'm leaving too. I'll return all the bride price and jewelry your family gave me. I won't owe you anything. I set the card on the table and said goodbye to Damien. He stood with his back to the door, buried in shadow. I couldn't read his expression. I said, goodbye. Or no, never see you again. From now on, I hope you live the way you want, happily. Damien didn't respond. The door clicked shut. The 5-year marriage comedy was finally over. A month later, Damien and I got the divorce certificate at the county courthouse. I guessed enough time had passed for him to calm down. He wore a white shirt and followed me quietly through the procedures. Before we parted, he said, I've gone back to running the company. I'm not with Ivy anymore. And I cut off those old friends.
His voice was steady.
He looked at me flatly. I gave him a polite smile. Madame Ashford would be happy to hear that. She gets lonely. If you have time, go visit her more often. Damien let out a bitter laugh. She's mad at me now. Every time I go home, she kicks me out. Well, old people, the older they got, the more unreasonable they became. I didn't say anything more. I got into Felix's car. He handed me a thermos. Your period's coming up. Drink some warm water. It'll make you feel better. From a distance, Damien's eyes darkened. The car sped away from the county courthouse. Felix took my hand. 2 years together, and now I finally have a real title. He smiled gently. It looked so comfortable. I had to admit, Damien's friends were right. I was happiest when you stuck with people from my own world. Back when I was with Damien, even when I had a crush on him, I always felt anxious. Now I had money, and I'd found someone within my league. Even if Felix changed down the road, I could just dump him and find someone else. Without fear, I could let my emotions flow freely.
Like now.
At a red light, I planted a kiss on him.
There.
My little lover. Finally official. From now on, we'll live well together. Yeah, he said. We'll live well together.
The end.
Thank you for listening to Moonlit Love Novella. Please like, subscribe, and share.